Hello, I'm Scott Horst, member of the Adult Services staff here at the Muskingum County Library System. And today I'm going to show you a new database that we have in our grouping called the ProQuest African American Heritage Database. It's offered by MCLS and ProQuest to assist you in doing African American genealogy. African American genealogy records can be quite scarce, but this gives you another option in your searching. So let's go to our website, muskingumlibrary.org, and I have already pulled up the main heading. And if you look under the research heading on this information bar, you see research databases. And once you've clicked on that, it comes down and it shows you some of our featured databases, and there you find the ProQuest African American Heritage Database. So click on that, and you'll see we have various things available to us. Collection searching that you can do, the Afrogeneous community, which is a form of social media searching where you can post a query and get response from people that have done research in that area. Black Genesis, which is a state-by-state resource guide on that. And you have some access to some reference materials on that. So you have a number of options to you. So let's go ahead and get started and give a try and see what we might pull up on that. To start, we're going to go into search the collections. And we're going to search a last name, an unusual last name, but it shows up in local history around here, the last name of Honesty. And we're just going to put in the state for Ohio and see what we pull up in Ohio. And I'm not going to specify anything else at this time. Click on the search, see what happens. And we pull up a number of census records and a few draft registrations, but nothing else. And if you're doing African American genealogy, you're used to a lot of blanks or zeros on that. So let's click on the census, and it gives from various years. We'll go to the 1920 census. That's the latest year they have provided in the database for Ohio. Later, we'll go to another state and you will see 1930. There isn't newer than that because of the federal law 72-year moratorium regarding census information being released to the general public. So let's click on the 1920 census information. You look on the screen and see a number of places, and one of them is Muskingum County. And there you find an Ansel Honesty. So if you wanted to see the actual page, it provides you the actual page when you click on his name. And looking down through, you see the Schultzes, who were a prominent family in Zanesville, and listed under them is an Ansel Honesty that is the butler. Going across the page, if you wanted to find out where to go from there, it lists that he was born in Ohio, that his father was born in Ohio as well, but his mother was born in West Virginia, and lists him as butler, personal to family. And so that gives you some information. But he's the only Honesty that shows up in Muskingum County. And these others are from other parts of the state. Now you would have to do more research to try to ascertain, are any of these people related to Ansel? Because from what we have, we don't know that. So let's go back and do a basic search again. And instead of Ohio, we're going to change states. What state would we try? We could try West Virginia and try finding his mother on that. Patterns of migration may come into play here. You could look at how Zanesville itself was settled. and it was mostly settled by people from Virginia. So let's try Virginia just as a possibility and just put honesty in Virginia and see what happens. There you can see we pull up a number of census records, 130 to be exact on that. So let's click on that and go to the newest census, which is available, and they do have the 1930 census. There were 12 records. Clicking in there, let's see if we can find somebody in there. And there we see, back to back, a Harvey honesty and a Howard honesty. And they are the same part, Fairfax County. In fact, most are Fairfax County, which, in case you didn't know, is a county adjacent to Washington, D.C. proper. So let's click on Harvey and take a look, and it does pull up the page just as we saw with the previous entry. And if you look down, and it's very close to the top here, there is a Harvey honesty, and he's a lodger. 1930 census with the Great Depression in full expression. He probably had to move there and lost his housing. And so he's listed as a laborer, farm work, excuse me. That's the actual term on that. So let's go back and try Howard and see. Since they're only 10 years apart, they may be something that tells us that they are related. Pull up the record for Howard. And I have to go down the page some. He is not at the top of the page, and there he is listed. And on this page, it lists his value, his income, $800, property, if you will, on that, and gives his wife and children on that. But nothing to tell us that Howard and Harvey are related. Howard's a laborer as well. So we would have to do more research to try to figure out if that's the case. And there's other ones listed there as well. As I said earlier, the majority of them are in Fairfax County. Now let's go and take a look at another type of record. What they have on here, if you wanted to try birth and death, you would not find that. All they list are marriage records. Let's try the Freedmen's Bank. You may ask, well, what is the Freedmen's Bank? It was, as it will tell you in the corner over here, that it served the African American community. It was a form of bank available in the Reconstruction period from 1865 to 1874. Unfortunately, it went bankrupt relatively quickly. So let's go ahead and put Honesty's last name in there again. And let's look and see if there's one for Virginia. Norfolk and Richmond, not very close. It would appear to us, since Fairfax is adjacent to Washington, D.C., that is where we want to try. And here we find from 1873 a record for a George William Honesty. Whether he's related or not will probably not be indicated on here, since it's a good 50 years earlier. And there it shows you the record for George and an address, February of 1873. He was a waiter. And listing a sister, a Mrs. Harriet Rhodes. And Mrs. Rhodes is authorized to deposit to this account and withdraw. So it's probably because of being his sister. So if you hadn't seen a Freedmen's Bank registration before, now you see what one looks like, and that's great that they provide that service. So that gives you some of what the type of records that are in here. There's also military records as well that you can access. And if we go back to the home page, again, you saw the Afrogenius community where you could submit a query, and if somebody's done research in the same area or someone that's more knowledgeable than you might be able to help you on it. Black Genesis is a state-by-state resource, and it's mostly just listing what type of resources are available in each state on that to take a look at. Let's go to the reference section so you can maybe do another search. So let's put the last name of Honesty again. And since a lot of the place name or keywords shown here on the screen, we don't know exactly what we're looking for. Let's just submit Honesty last name and see what we find. Well, we find blacks found in the deeds of Laurens and Newberry counties, South Carolina, in the 1785 to 1827, which a book that doesn't really pertain to what we're looking for. The next one, Free African Americans of North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina, might be of a lot more use to us. So let's click on that and see what it shows. What shows us the table of contents, how many pages, things like that. And gives you all these information, for example, of what the maps of the two states and the formation of the counties, if you're trying to figure out location of somebody, family histories, if that exists. And let's look at the index in the volume 2, just see. Well, it is listed here alphabetically, so we would have to try and be able to figure out what page we're looking for on that. If we click on the browse by page number, we get all the pages in the book, which would be an insurmountable task to look at. So fortunately, I've done the searching beforehand, and let's go to page 649. Click on it, and there they give information on the Honesty family, giving you who the first person that they have recorded in that book, with information of perhaps others that are related and that. So there's a lot of information in here, but it requires you have some information. The more information you have, the better your search can be. For example, if you click in Black Genesis, and I just put in Honesty again, I retrieve no search results. Doesn't mean that there isn't an Honesty name in there, but it's not in there indexed or available to easily retrieve. So I hope this is helpful to you to get an idea of how to do your searching on African American heritage by ProQuest. Thank you for listening today, and I hope again that this will be helpful to you. If you do run into problems, always consider contacting us at MCLS at 740-453-0391. The reference desk can be reached at extension 116 or 132. Beyond that, you might also try our local genealogical society. Even though it is currently closed due to the pandemic, they are monitoring their website, so you can submit a query on their website. Their website is www.mccogs.org. And on there, as I said, you can submit a query. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope this will help you in using this resource.